Good evening, everyone. Thursday again, that means another interview in the series of Women and Empowerment. And I'm so happy to be here. For the ones who are tuning in for the very first time, my name is Selina. I'm from Subtle Balance and I'm a life coach. My mission is to help people become the best version of themselves by gaining self-love and self-worth. The majority of the time, I coach people to overcome codependency and break free from toxic relationships. I created this Instagram live series because I think it's important to create more awareness about this amazing subject. Last week we went to New York. I had an inspiring convo with Dr. Jasmine Escalera. If you missed it, it is still on my page. Do check it out. This week we are going all the way up from New York to Florida. I'm going to go live with Jennee. Jennee is a business coach or an empowerment coach, as she loves to call herself. So let's see if she's here and that I can bring her online. So far she's not here. Let's check Jennee. All right. Send request. Hopefully the connection is good so she can tune in with us. If you hear me and the audio and everything is okay, send me a thumbs up or a smiley so I know that everything is up and running and that we can start the live when the connection is going through. Let me see. Still pending. Let's see. Can somebody send me like a thumbs up? Yeah, okay, super. So you can see and hear me. If you are tuning in for the very first time, if you have like a question for Jennee or for me or about this amazing subject, do leave them in the comments because we're going to discuss them during the live. I received some comments in advance. So yeah, let's see. Jennee is here, but something is not going with the connection. Let's see. Can happen, you never know. And we are connecting right now. There she is. Hi. Hello.
You see me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. How are
Awesome,
you?
awesome. Yes, I can't see myself, but that's okay, as long as you can see me.
I think, yeah. If somebody can send us a thumbs up or a smiley, then we know that everything is up and running. I'm so happy
Awesome.
that you are here. Oh yeah, we have like clapping hands and somebody waving, so everything is up and running. So how are
Awesome.
you?
Perfect. I'm doing fine. And you, how's everything going?
Everything is fine. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
That's awesome.
I'm so happy that you could find the time to tune in and to yeah, be a guest on the live. I gave a quick
Definitely.
introduction, so I'm going to give the word to you. Tell us a little
Mhm.
bit more. Who are you? What are you doing? So take it away.
Awesome, awesome. Well, for those who are viewing, I know this is my first time joining Selena. So first of all, thank you for the invite to
You're
come and share
welcome.
with your audience and to just chat with you a little bit. You have really been doing a phenomenal job with your lives. I just, you just been doing awesome. Like you said, women empowerment is so much is, it's just a blessing, and so it's awesome when you see women out there empowering each other.
Thank
And
you.
so, but myself, yeah, I am actually a business development coach, empowerment coach.
Mm-hmm.
And women empowerment is a really big one for myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
I primarily kind of focus in the vein of business per se,
Mm-hmm.
just business development, more so at grassroots, from a grassroots perspective, people at their foundation when they're just getting going. But in this day and time, it seems like that's a really booming thing right now. Just people, because of course, with everything going on with the pandemic and so forth, a lot of people are looking to get going in business and empowerment and just trying to do something,
Exactly.
find themselves flowing in purpose. And
Exactly.
so that's pretty much what I do. I've been doing it for quite some time now, actually. Probably goes back to oh 09, oh 08,
Oh
around that
wow!
time frame.
Already? Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and now even though I didn't identify as a coach at the time, but I kind of found myself kind of doing it just indirectly, because I actually started off in graphic design. People that know me, they know I do a variety of design services, web design, graphic
Oh,
design, and so forth.
okay.
And I think I mentioned it to you, and it's actually on my website as well. There's a friend of mine who's down this way in Florida. She's also she's no longer with us, but she was a
Oh,
business coach,
oh.
and she was a really really dear friend of mine that went back around that same time.
Mhm.
And she was my inspiration almost, because
Oh.
she, before I even got in business, she was doing her thing, and she reminds me of myself, really driven and ambitious, and she would just go and do things, and she would always tell me, Jennee, you need to start doing business. You need to do business. And I'd be like, well, no, I do this for people that I know and so forth. But with her encouragement over the years and so forth, I found myself getting into it when I got laid off in '08 because of the economy back then, and I went full force into doing my own thing. And so it's been a slowly, a journey of evolution, if I could say, where I've kind of come to this place, because even though I do design and graphic design, I kind of found myself always helping people in their businesses, branding themselves and getting themselves going. But it's interesting because even though my vein is predominantly business, every time when I talk or when I'm sharing something or when something comes to mind to write, it's always in the vein of empowerment.
Oh, cool.
Like I'll be in my mind, I'm telling myself, okay, write this about business, write that about business. It's like all this business stuff, but it's always something that's going to encourage somebody, or somebody that's going to inspire them, or something that's going to motivate them. And so, I even though I actually like to empower and to encourage men and women, but obviously because I'm a woman, women, we always relate, we can
Exactly.
identify
True.
more so. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about my backdrop and how I kind of come to this place.
Okay.
And like I said, it's very exciting to be able to work with people with their visions and their ideals, and to, just like you said, empower people,
Yeah, I
you know?
think it's pretty awesome that you can work with people to empower them and to get really the best out of them. Hi, yeah, I'm just tuning in. Hi, Rex. Thank you very much. Yeah, Selina, you're glowing. Welcome. Thank you
Yeah,
for
he
tuning in.
is.
Um, but I think it's pretty awesome that you can really empower people to become the best version of themselves. It is so rewarding as well. I do it in a different way than
Definitely.
you. For me, it's not business wise.
Mm-hmm.
But can you tell us a little bit more? You said like a dear friend. Unfortunately, she's not here anymore, so I'm sorry to hear that. But what made you decide to do what you're doing right now? Because I imagine you don't wake up one morning like, snap, and I'm going to be like a business or an
Yeah.
empowerment coach. There's a
Yeah.
whole process in advance. So what was for you the reason? What was your drive to start doing this?
Definitely, definitely. Well, as I mentioned to you, going back years ago, I would always have things that I would help people with, friends, family, and so forth. And naturally, interesting, people would always tell me, or they would refer to me, even though I wasn't, like I said, identifying as a coach back then, but
Mhm.
because I would help people and friends, I was always that listening ear, and not only the listening ear, but I was always the one that would, give people advice, and of course I'm a person of faith. And so I
Mhm.
would, share with them, and just inspiring things, like I said, encourage them and motivate them and so forth. And people would always, well, you're my coach, you're my coach. Now granted, they were probably talking about life coach, but they were going through life issues, but yeah, it happened to the best of us. But at the same token, and that's been, like I said, years coming up to now. And so because I have an eye for design and I have an eye for structure and strategy and things of that
Wow.
sort,
Yeah.
I tend to get a lot of people that come to me whenever they have questions about the how-tos on doing things. And like I said, over the years when I was younger, going, graduating high school and going into schooling and so forth, I found myself kind of on a path where, initially, because I'm a multifaceted person, I found myself following paths that people were recommending to me. Like,
Mhm.
I've been to school for a variety of things. I've been to school for working on computers and computer IT, and cosmetology, because I've known how to cut men's hair
Oh,
since I was
really?
15.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I've been to school for barbering and cosmetology. I've been to school for
Wow.
so many different things, but all of those things were, even though I actually have a heart for a lot of those different things, but they're not really what I want to flow in. They're not my niche. And I racked up a lot of student loans, doing that. But what I found myself over the last, because I've only identified as a coach over, I'll probably say, for maybe about 3 or 4 years now. And when I decided to take my journey to really making that an official thing that I wanted to pursue and to structure myself as, I told myself, you know what, I had been pursuing things that people recommended for me for my entire life because they saw that I was gifted in so many different things. You should do this and you should do that. And I said, no, I know what I need to be doing now.
Exactly. Yeah,
And so
exactly.
at that point, I that's when I went on and started to pursue establishing myself as a identified business coach and an empowerment coach. And like I said, it's been a journey because when you kind of travel, you try different things. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very ambitious person, and I'm an entrepreneur
I
to
know
the
that.
core. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur to the core, and so I'm always like I have a number of things that's forthcoming. Like I was even sharing with you, so I have a lot of things that I always have my hands in.
Exactly.
But the root of it always comes back to my heart for wanting and liking to help others, because even with the books that I'm writing and things that I'm doing, everything is always centered around what I can do and what I can position myself to
Okay.
help empower the next person.
Exactly, exactly. How can
Mhm.
you contribute? How can you give back to society? Exactly. That's
Exactly.
so beautiful. I
Yes,
see a
yes,
lot of
yes.
people tuning in. If you have a question, do leave them in the comments. We will talk about it during the live. I think that's very interesting what you're saying as well. Like, yeah, very ambitious. Can you tell us a little bit more? Because I know what you're up to. Not everything, but what can we expect? What is there to come the upcoming months? Because you're busy with a lot of projects. So
Yes, definitely. What the biggest project that I'm working on right now, if I would say, is automating things in business. Because even though I go in my history and where I've come from, I knew I do a lot, and I've been in that vein of doing things in marketing and so forth. But I've always been behind the scenes doing work, and that's kind of like how even you and I cross paths with the Les Brown
exactly,
community,
exactly,
because I have been so behind the scenes. I'm like, let me interact with some communities that can kind of get me in the forefront a little bit more,
exactly.
because yeah, because like I said, with the various things that I am doing, I've and the things I've done up to this point, I've not had to be in the forefront, because everything that I've done has always been by word of mouth or personal referral, which is a good thing in a way. It's
Exactly.
a good
Yeah.
thing. But at the same token, because of the nature of the things that are taking place in the world today, and because there's so many people that can use help and that can use the inspiration and being uplifted and so forth, I'm being pressed to want to come to the forefront more. And so
More.
I am in the process of automating my business so that I can scale up more, and I don't have to, I can do more without having to be the one-on-one directly. I will always do one-on-one, because that's just my heart. I thrive when I work with people. But at the same token, I'm in the process of launching an online business academy.
Oh, so
That
exciting.
will that will be launching. It'll kind of have little bitty pieces rolling out over the next month or two, but the official launch will be in January. It'll be actually open in January 1st, actually January 1st.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so that will focus on helping people to start businesses, brand themselves, just position themselves. And even some business things like helping to develop products and services. Like I said, I do a lot of the fundamental things, because even though all of us are in business and we do a lot of variety of things, but a lot of times people are missing the foundation, those fundamental things, like knowing what type of entity they need, and making sure they have insurance, making sure they have their taxation status, selected properly, those fundamental things. So I'm in the process of launching that, because that's going to help me to help more people in the
Yeah.
business thing without it, consuming me completely. And so I'm in the process of doing that. That's probably the biggest thing that's going to be
Wow.
forthcoming, because that's going to be huge. But I have a number of small things like, t-shirt lines, and I have a couple of big books that are going to be launching
Wow.
soon and publishing. So it's a number of things forthcoming.
Cool.
So much.
Yeah, awesome. So can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about the books that you're writing? What is it about? And yeah, so exciting as well. So
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, the first one that I'll be releasing on my birthday this year, which is in
ooh.
December. That one is actually more so like I'm re-releasing it. It's like the second edition, because it's actually a book of poetry. I've written poetry since a young girl, or since I was young, and
Wow.
this book is called Testify, and the reason why is because it actually pulls from a number of my life stories and experiences that I've gone through. And I think that book itself will be very empowering to the reader, because it's almost as if it journeys through my life. And I realized this because when I released the first edition of the book, I was going through all of my, my archives and my poems, and I was like, man, all of these poems are connected to major experiences in my life. And I was like, let me pull this thing together and put it into a
Wow.
book called that would be about, my testimony.
Right.
And so that was when I released the first one. But of course, obviously, you're always living, you have experiences, you learn more. And so I
Exactly.
had so many more pieces that I wanted to add into it, which is why I'm re-releasing it with some additional poems about stories from that point on. But
Wow.
that'll be releasing on December 1st on my birthday. And I have another one that's called It's About That Time to Rise. which is going to be, again, empowering men and women to pretty much rise up into their purpose, what they were put here on earth to do. And it's again, using my life story as a guide, but it really shows people from the journey of their coming to even understand that they have purpose and walking them through those seasons of life, so they can
Wow.
actually walk into the manifestation of what they were put
Wow,
on earth to
so
do.
inspiring.
And
Wow.
so yeah, those books are forthcoming. I can't wait.
Wow, yeah, me neither. I really wanna, yeah. So December the 1st is the first launch, and then the second one is after. Okay. So
Yeah.
if people want to contact you, if they want more info, they can go to your page and they can send you a direct message and then ask a question, I assume. I will
Definitely.
leave all your info after the live as well. So if you want to check in with Jennee, if you have questions after, do contact her. So if we speak about women and empowerment, you said like it's very close to my heart. It's something that I really
Yeah.
that's very dear to me. Can you tell us a little bit more where that started, women and empowerment for you? Because it's very individual. It's a universal thing, but it's also very
Definitely.
individual for every woman. So where did it
Mm-hmm.
start for you?
Well, kind of like I kind of shared a little piece of this with my friend I was mentioning about that was like my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
She was really a big impact in my life and my journey because she was like that. She was like so empowering. And even when I was in my earlier stages and days of business and so forth, she was so encouraging because she, like myself, we experienced failure, we experienced ups and downs, we experienced the roller coasters of the learning curves and so
Of
forth,
course.
but it was like she was so positive, and she was
Mm-hmm.
always just pushing forward. And even if something didn't go right, she was picking up, like she was just so like resilient, and
Mm-hmm.
she was always willing to help the next person. It was never competitive. It was never, she was just always somebody that was looking to help. And even though, in her later years before, her timely transition, or untimely, I'm sorry, transition in her later years, she, of course, like I said, had become a business coach, and she had found her vein, but she had gone through this story, and her journey was just so empowering. So that was kind of like one of the initial inspirations of, like I said, you got to be able to empower other people, women particularly, because when we're women, we know how it is. We know what kind of challenges we face in life. We know what kind
Exactly.
of struggles there is just as a female.
Exactly.
And and then when you add that to the other challenges that we can come up against in life, and just in the economy or whatnot or whatever, like I said, we can identify better. And so even though, like I said, I do have a heart to empower men, but I know I'm limited with that because
Mm-hmm.
I can't attest to their direct experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I am looking to empower men, I always look to connect with other men that can join forces with that, because they can speak
Mm-hmm.
directly to it. Me, on the other hand, I can always speak directly to a woman, and
Exactly.
identify, because we're one of the same, in
Exactly.
the same class. And so yeah, that was my first, like I said, thing. But over the years, I've just always had that heart, to just be a blessing. And I think even as a business coach, I get joy when I see somebody else doing what they love to do, or when I see somebody's visions and their ideals materializing and they starting to see it come together.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me happy. And so, like I said, just having that heart like that, I was like, let me help others, and it's just been where I thrive the most. And so even though, kind of like I was sharing, I have so many different other things that I have my hands in, I always look at this as being like my retirement thing, the type of thing that they tell you, okay, if you find something that you love to do, that, if you would do it for free, or you would do it whenever, even if some, just to
Yeah.
be a blessing or to help. That's what it is with me with coaching and helping people to develop business and to walk in their purpose. That's me.
Wow.
I plan
Yeah.
on doing this forever. Like, I'll probably never retire because that's what I love to do. I
But
mean, I'm going to retire, but not
yeah,
officially, kind of, sort of.
someday, but not now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's indeed, and it's so rewarding as well to coach people and to help them empower. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think for me at least, that was part of the process. Becoming a coach is also about
Mm-hmm.
learning to empower yourself, because the moment
Absolutely.
you decide to become a coach, you
Mm-hmm.
start your own process, or at least that I think
Oh
it's for
yeah.
you it's similar. Yeah, I know you from the Les Brown Prodigy, and yeah, you've been growing from the moment that you started there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's also a part of the deal. But how was it for you to really start empowering yourself in that situation?
Oh, listen, when I tell you that has been a journey,
Yeah.
and like you said, a journey that I am still on, even very much myself. Because one thing, and that's like you just said, when it even comes down to connecting to the Les Brown group, and even a few others that I'm connected to, I'm an avid as a coach. I'm an avid believer in coaching and mentors.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
an avid believer in that because I just know the impact and the just the impact that they have in your life. When you're looking to grow in something, and that's what I've had to do. I'm always, even though I am like I said, I'm a very multifaceted person and multi-talented where like usually I'm very tech savvy. I can usually figure things out myself or whatnot. However, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel if you don't have to. I don't believe
Hmm.
in making things complicated if you don't have to.
No,
And
it's
if there's coaches out there, if there's a mentor out there that you can connect to that can help make that journey easier or make sure you're getting from point A to point Z, I'm not point B, but point Z. You're getting to the, to where your destination.
the full month.
Then I'm all for that. And so I've always had a journey of, I educate myself, I invest in myself. I'm really huge on that, on investing in myself. I've had countless number of courses and classes and trainings and things that I've taken part in to hone my skill and to hone what I do. Like I said, even up to this day, like I have a class that I'm going to probably take here soon, because even though I do design and I do all that stuff and I know what I'm doing, I'm good at it. But there's this lady that I just so love her work. And I'm like, oh, she's having a class. Let me jump in there, because you can always learn. I'm
That's
a lifelong student.
exactly.
And to me that's the biggest thing that I feel has impacted me, is because I'm always willing to learn.
Hmm.
I don't never see myself as know it all. I don't never see myself as happen to be the one to have all the answers,
Hmm.
because things are steadily evolving, things are always changing, even with technology. I mean, as tech savvy as I am, things are always growing, always evolving. And so
Yeah,
you
true.
have to become a student of your craft, and of your industry,
Hmm.
to just be at a point. And that's what I've had to do to empower myself, connect with those that have gone where I'm looking to go, those who have that insight and that wisdom. And that would probably be, to me, the biggest thing that has shaped me in my journey,
Hmm. Hmm.
just being able to connect with those impactful mentors and coaches that have helped
Yeah,
me get to
yeah,
where I am
exactly.
today.
Yeah, we're both, for the people who are tuning in, we're both in the Les Brown Prodigy community, and I think, yeah, Les Brown is motivational speaker. He's so
Mm-hmm.
inspiring to listen to and so inspiring to learn a lot from. For
Yes.
me, I really, it helped me in showing up, showing myself more to the world, because
Yes.
the part that you said, like behind the scenes and working and all those things, that
Mm-hmm.
was something that I was doing before. But with the Les Brown Prodigy, it's more like showing yourself to the world, showing your work, showing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you meet yourself in that process. So I fully
Oh yeah.
understand what you're saying in that. So yeah. So if we speak more about women and empowerment, and you said, like, yeah, I'm a woman, and we experience, sometimes we experience struggle in that, and it's a process, because you're not the same person when you are 20 or when you are 30 or even 40 as a woman. Things evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice certain things, like that you had, like some kind of experiences that you say, like, that was for women and empowerment something really important, or a value that I want to share here today?
If I had to say one thing, I would probably say, and I hate to take it from I mean, because I try to be mindful of everybody viewing, because I know there's a variety of people that could view, but I would probably just saying, just that place of being at knowing your core, who you are, and just being solid in your faith. I'll put it like that, and the things that you're rooted and grounded in,
Hmm.
because I know, from a young girl up to now, I would have to say that if there's one thing that has kept me going, kept me consistent, kept me, no matter what obstacles came or what, I was up against, or whatever things I had to learn or whatever,
Hmm.
it was always because I was rooted and I was grounded in my faith, you know, and just being able to have that bounce back, where,
Yeah, exactly.
nothing could take you out. And to me, I think that's one of the biggest things, because, like I said, just having that is irreplaceable. However, just from specific experiences and so forth, I mean, this does kind of tie to that. But I just saw, and this is the reason why this is going to be very powerful, because I just literally just a couple of days ago saw a message, or saw a message from a gentleman that I follow, and I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful, because he was talking about integrity.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about it is that I really, and I agree with him 100%, that a lot of people, I feel, in this day and time, I don't know if they fully understand integrity.
Mm-hmm.
People sometimes when they think about people having integrity, it's almost as if they paint whenever a person is has a flaw, or whenever they may experience a setback, or just a struggle or something that they're looking to evolve in or whatnot. Sometimes they paint that person in their mind like, oh, they're lacking integrity.
Exactly.
But this and even though there's levels to it, of course, but when I saw this message, it was so impactful to me, and I agree 100%, because he explained it in a way to say, he used the rubber band as an example, because everybody knows that if you stretch a rubber band and you let it go and it doesn't bounce back to its original form, then it's lacking integrity. And and to me, that's what that's how I view things when I'm looking through the eye lens of somebody having integrity. And so I would say that that's probably the one single most thing, like I said, tying to the faith side as well, that women need to have, because we go through a lot, we experience a lot, whether it be with family, whether it be with those who have children. I don't have children, but those who do have children, that's a whole nother load of
Another
things that
phase.
people have to
Exactly.
work with and kind of balance and juggle.
Mm-hmm.
The workforce, there's so many different things that we juggle. And I'm not gonna lie, we have our emotions, we have our our relationships and things that we
Everything.
go through. We have things that we experience and so forth, and we are definitely different from men, with how we deal with things and so forth. However, women, there's a certain level of integrity that we have, that no matter what we go through, we bounce back. And to me, I think that's vital for women, because if you're going through things, either that's long as you bounce back, you're going, you're good.
Exactly.
That's my biggest thing. Just don't quit. You go through things, you experience stuff, but get yourself back in the game and keep back going. And to me, what he said and what I would agree with, that's when you see somebody with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not when you have the picture perfect person. It's
No,
not
no,
when you have the
no.
person that doesn't have any flaws, or has never made a
No,
mistake, or doesn't have any hiccups or whatever.
no,
When you
exactly.
have somebody that has integrity, it's a person that knows how to keep going and keep in the game, and they always have a heart to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a
Right.
heart to
Yeah.
strive to do the good things, do the right things. And so I just tell people, have integrity. Don't
Yeah.
quit, no matter what your flaws, no matter what your struggles. Learn, get back in the game.
Exactly. Don't give up. Exactly.
Don't
I
give
think
up.
integrity and being resilient, for me, it goes hand in hand. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a very
Mm-hmm.
important thing when we speak about integrity. And also when you say, like, nowadays, you don't have to be perfect, but yeah, with social media and everything going on. And I think also part of society, I can only speak because we're women, so I can only speak from the side of a woman. You have to check so many boxes. You have to be like
Mm-hmm.
sportive. You have to be healthy. As a mom, you have to do so many things. You have to
Yes.
participate at school events. Have to go and do things with your children. You have to be like the perfect wife, the good daughter,
Yeah.
the perfect friends.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a
Yes.
social
It's
life.
so
You have to
much.
go
Yes.
work out. There's so many boxes that we need to check, and sometimes I wonder, is it something that we put on ourselves, or is it like
Mm-hmm.
society, or is it a mix of both? I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
you feel about that.
I actually probably agree with you. I think it's probably, this is my personal opinion. I think it's probably a mix of both. And then I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, because
Mm-hmm.
there is a level of overcoming that people pleasing thing, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
what other people put on you, but
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
at the same time, I know sometimes we can be our own worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just a balance between it all, because at the end of the day, you listen, when I tell you, with all that you just said, you called out my life to a fine science. Yeah, I'm sorry about you got somebody at the door there. But so you called it out to a fine science. When I tell you, I juggle so much, and not only do I juggle so much, but it's almost as though I am consistently, I get pulled in a lot of directions. And so, it's a constant journey to
Yeah.
evolve and to learn how to balance it all.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, hold 1 second.
No
I'm sorry, I'm in
problem.
my living room. I'm just gonna
No
grab something real
problem.
quick.
No,
Oh,
it's okay.
no problem. Okay.
Uh,
So no, so like I was saying, it's a journey. Like I said, it's a journey of kind of growing and being able to know how to juggle it all. And another thing that when it comes down to that,
mhm.
I learned this. I learned this from another mentor that I follow, and to me, it was life changing to think this, because we always try to figure out how to balance all of that. The expectations from everybody and all of life. We had the expectations of ourselves. And
Mhm.
this gentleman, he said what you have to learn is that you can never every day be 100% perfect at everything.
No, exactly.
When you're a person that juggles a lot of things, you're going to have, days that you're going to fall short. You're going to have days that you're not going to be able to get it all done. But he said that the catch is, or the trick is, never failing at everything all the time. Like you can't let something go wanting for too long.
No.
If you don't get to catch something today, make sure you double back and you catch it tomorrow. Or you just make sure you keep that in that schedule to where you're catching things. And so to me, when you learn that, and that's what, even today, like I said, I'm learning that myself and still kind of, honing it, if I could say, or getting better at it. Because I juggle so many different, that's why that automation is going to be good for me, because, when you're automated, it relieves you, and it gives you more time to focus on other things. And so, yeah, it's just, it's like I said, it's a balance. And it's also a personal thing too, with learning how to get comfortable in who you are and comfortable in what you do, and having that reassurance and knowing where you stand in those veins. Because if you're not certain, in what you do, who you are at your core, then those various things sometimes can play an impact and can shake you, when you have these people expecting this, or you have this over here, that's pulling over here. And especially if you ever do fall short, and it's life, it happens,
Exactly.
like I said. And so to me, it's a matter of knowing how to juggle those things, and being centered at your core to know who you are and where you stand in it. You'll always be able to double back and pick yourself up, as long as you have those things in focus.
Exactly. And it's also so powerful what you're saying. It all comes back to yourself. The empowerment as well. It all comes back to yourself. The moment you are empowering yourself, like we spoke, you can also start empowering other women. That was also a question from one of the viewers, and I think we went over it already. What made you empower other women, and what made you an empowered woman as well? But if we go a little bit deeper into that, like growing up, like a teenager, becoming a woman, there you form an idea about what womanhood is, or sisterhood, or how you want to call it. How was it for you growing up and defining that image? Because it starts there, and it's also start with mentors, I think, like a mother or a father or a grandmother. So how was it for you?
Well, I actually had a pretty interesting journey through my youth on up to my adulthood, if I could say, because I actually was born and raised in Kansas. I actually see one of my good childhood friends that has tuned in a little bit here. Shout out to you. But I was born and raised in Kansas, and so I actually had a pretty regular childhood life. My father was there, my mother. Everything wasn't perfect. Of course, they had their struggles, or challenges and so forth. But a defining moment that I had in my childhood, I'll say, is when my parents separated, because everything was pretty balanced. And even though, like I said, it wasn't like the pristine life, but it was balanced. It was regular. And when we grew up, like I said, when my parents came to the point where they separated, I think that was really that turning point where I started to see things unfold in my life that would start to push me towards purpose, if I could say. And starting to experience things and that. So, but the interesting thing about that is that and I always tell the story, because it's just, there's my favorite poem I shared that I write poetry. My favorite poem is a poem called "Don't Quit." And back around that time, at that turning point, when we were packing, I remember vividly, like it was yesterday, when we were packing up our house to, getting ready to move. We were moving to Florida, where my mother's from, and we had this poem hanging in our living room. Don't quit. We had the footprints one. There's a popular one, the footprints, and then there's the one, Don't Quit, and we had them hanging in our living room. And when I took it down, I wasn't even aware of poetry at the time, but I read that poem, and when I tell you, it impacted, like it set. You would think that it was Bible. That's just how much I hold tight to that poem. And little did I know that going from that point forward, as I was a young lady, preteen, shifting to Florida, I would start to experience things and go through things, but nothing. I can't say that I've had a extremely challenging life. Like, I know there are some people that have some really, really, devastating and traumatic experiences. However, I have always had some significant challenges. Just, I'll say, if I could say, from just people general, which is weird, because anybody that knows me, I'm like a regular person. Like I'm cool, I'm laid back, I'm nice, I'm sweet, and I've always been that way. I've, like literally, like even though of course you grow in wisdom, you grow in knowledge as you get older, but who I am now is probably who I was when I was a young girl because I'm the same, personality or whatnot. But in just growing, like I said, that's how you have purpose and that there's something that's, that you're being honed or molded for. And I even share this in my book that's forthcoming, is because, your challenges are a part of forming, saying what's your purpose to do. It's almost like those challenges and those obstacles are learning curves or learning points, that you can glean from. And yeah, so that's when I came up to my childhood. Like I said, it was some interesting things. Like I said, just having the opposition that I didn't understand from people. That was weird. I've been accused of stuff. I've been I've endured abuse. Like you name it. I have had some things that have taken place, and like I said, they've all impacted me in different ways. To where again, it always leads me back to sharing, like we were talking about, with the resilience and that keep that integrity of not quitting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make it through those things and just have that faith, like I said, that keeps you grounded even in the midst of the storm.
Exactly, and that's so powerful. It's also what a lot of quotes say, like you can fall down 7 times, but it's to get up the 8th time, and don't quit, don't give up. And that's the difference between failing and being successful. It's just getting up that one time more.
There you go.
So that's so powerful what you're saying. I see some new people checking in. If you have questions, do leave them in the comments. We will discuss them. One of the other questions that we received, and I think it's a very interesting one, is are men nowadays ready for empowered women? I don't know what your opinion is about that.
Mm-hmm. When I was looking at that question, that's an interesting. Yeah, I know. That's an interesting question. Mm-hmm. And because I thought long and hard about this because I'm somewhere in the middle on that. And the only reason why I say that is because I realize the struggles that this generation, or if I could say, or we are experiencing in the world abroad, to where like there's a breakdown of morals and there's a breakdown of, things that keep people upright, if you could say. And so because of that, it's almost as if I tell people all the time, it's almost like we're in like this transition phase to where those of us like yourself and like myself, those that are in a similar age range, if I could say, from our generation, if we don't step in and do things like what we're doing to empower others, and in that point, I feel like it could be a potential loss. If I could say, I'm not gonna say loss, but a potential, because I don't never want to look at things as a loss, but I'll say it could make things more challenging. I'll put it like that.
Exactly.
Because women, so much in the world has molded the culture that we're in, and just the inherent challenges that we come up against. Sometimes, like I said, I'm not gonna lie, just as a woman, we do have challenges that seem to be surmounting, but I feel like men have their own challenges and stuff, but whether or not they're ready for women, I'm not sure. I'm not sure 100%. I feel like there is definitely those core men out there who are ready, because there's no such thing as there's no good men out there. There's great men out there. Exactly. There are good men out there. I feel as if there's there's even men out there that are doing some of the things that we're doing right now, empowering other men and things of that sort. However, there are certain environments that you see it lacking. I'll put it like that. And so I do feel as though when we as women come in, we kind of fill up that hedge a little bit. But I think that it's definitely on the right track to get there, to where, like I said, there's the balance, because there's an imbalance right now, I feel, to where you see, even like right now, they talk about women being you see more women starting businesses, like where women are really thriving in a lot of ways.
Thank God for that.
But at the same token, I really feel like it's more so just that the men are sitting or laid back, put it like that. I think that, I think they need to just shift to the spotlight a little bit more and kind of come forth, because they're definitely there, but at the same token, I think that they're just not acknowledged as much, or they're not as visible, which me and you share, we have that issue with ourselves, coming out into the spotlight, but I feel like once they come forth more, I think men need to be empowered more to come forth. Because I feel as if there are some great men that have, the skills, the know-how, the ability, the wisdom, But like I said, they just have to be given that to come forward so that they can be able to operate it and do similar things to empower others. So like I said, I feel like it's there, but I feel like it's not getting the spotlight and it's not being shined on as much as it needs to be.
No, I think, yeah, that's also, yeah, very true. But it's also a process and a routine that has been going on for decades, and you cannot change it overnight. So I think we have to start small, and it's like you're saying, like it's a balance and creating a shift. But is there something that you think that we can do to create more awareness about women and empowerment about this subject? Are there things that you say, like, and you want to share with us and with the viewers, like, hey, this is something very important that we can do to make a shift?
And now when you say shift, you're speaking of like to help empower, bring men up to be empowered to do what they do as
Yeah,
well.
to help the men encourage, like, to give more attention and more awareness about women and empowerment as well, because I think we as women, we can do a lot, and we can put a focus and awareness about this subject and empower each other. But I also think if we really want to create a shift, it's not only us women that have to step up. So I think for men, it's also important that they step up with us. So is there something that we can do to help that process?
Well, here's something that I've noticed, and I've just noticed this in working with the various people that I've worked with in business, because like you said, when it comes down to women thriving and doing business and stuff, you know what, I come across so many women who they're starting these powerful women movements, you know, like you said, whether it be a nonprofit or some sort of organization or some sort of a platform that's empowering women. And it's interesting because even particular clients of mine who have awesome women empowerment platforms, it's almost like when I'm working with them on their brand and I'm working with them on their business, I automatically in my mind can envision the male counterpart to it.
Oh,
now
yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because not everybody has that. Like that's not everybody's ideal or their vision of what they had doing. But I always encourage it though, and so I would suggest that. Like if you're a woman and you're out there doing things like what you're even right now, even having a conversation is good, you know. But if you're a woman out there and you're doing business, don't leave the men out. You know, like I said, even if you're not, kind of like I said with myself with my own platform, I do women empowerment, but I love to empower men as well. You know, however, what I do is I look to make strategic alliances and partnerships with men that I feel are capable of empowering men, you know, and then I just be that support mechanism from that women's perspective, you know. However, I feel like if women did that more, like instead of being like, okay, women rock, you know, and even though we rock,
Oh, yeah,
you know, but right. But you know, in doing that though, always and no matter what you do, try to find an aligned path to do that where you can empower men as well. Like, okay, if you and I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. If you have a platform that's I'll use myself as an example. I'll use myself an example because my platform, everybody that knows my platform, like I come from a very regal perspective. Like I know I try not to overdo the kings and queens concept because I know some people are like, oh, it's played out, you know, it's over, you know, people overdo it, you know, oh, king, queen. Listen, they're gonna have to just take it how they want because I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel as if we're royal people. I feel as if we have, you know, and not only that, just from the elite status of it. Like I love people that's flowing in their prime, you know. And so with that being case, you know, like I would never, then it's just me, you know, I don't look at it like, okay, yeah, queens rock, we're queens, you know, no, we're kings and queens, you know. And so even though I have the queens and I'm empowering queens, no, we need to empower the kings as well. We need to empower the men as well. And so it's always about having that synergy to come together, you know. And I would suggest that to women out there. Like if you're doing something, even if you're not capable of doing it yourself, find somebody, get out there, network, and see what men you can align with and you can collaborate with that can help to align with to kind of bring that empowerment to men too. Because if we give them platforms, you know, and I realize that even in some other communities that I facilitate and that I'm, you know, that I kind of help moderate and I do some things with, you know, we're always looking for building platforms and panels and things that start to help men share and men get out what they have to say. And so that's what I would suggest, especially in this time where you have a lot of women doing what they do in business. Exactly. Always try to see it through a veins of how you can bring the men into the picture too, you know, so you don't leave them out.
No, exactly. I think it's very important to create a harmony between men and women as well at that point, because like we said, you cannot create a shift without including them. And I think when we look at all the levels in life, whether it's like family wise or even business wise, we should create a harmony and a balance between men and women. Otherwise, things will not change. And I think that's a very essential part, what you're saying. You can empower a woman because you're a woman as well, but see that you can collaborate with a man as well that can do his part, and then you join together and create a harmony. I think that's a very powerful message to share. Exactly.
Yes, definitely.
That's
I
we're
love it.
almost going to the end of the live already. We have like 12 minutes left. Time flies.
Yes, I know, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So is there anything more that you say, like, hey, this is something I really want to share, or something I want to add at this point?
Well, I just, like I said, I just encourage everybody to, just like I said, get to that place where they're able to silence the noise of everything going on, right, so that they can get themselves rooted and grounded in purpose, in vision. Without a vision, they say we perish. And so, if you have vision, and then, and connect with a coach, connect with an empowerment specialist, and connect with a mentor that can help guide you along the way. Because like I said, in this day and time, especially with all the craziness going on, this has been a bumpy, rocky road, this year.
Exactly.
But there's still the potential for greatness. It's not like, all good is gone. There's still the opportunity for people to thrive. There's still, opportunities that are being presented. Matter of fact, I think Les Brown even himself said it. He said, out of this, all that's taking place, there's going to be a couple of individuals that's going to come out of this. You're going to have those who are going to fail horribly, and they're going to just they're not going to do anything, or you're going to have millionaires and billionaires and things that are going to thrive out of this.
Exactly.
And so I always say, just find your core and your purpose, and what your purpose to do. Because if you can thrive in that vein, then chances are you'll be around for the long haul.
Exactly. If we speak about the pandemic now in like business coach wise and the women and empowerment, how is it in Florida? Can you give us an idea?
Well, here in Florida, it's interesting. I will say that it's interesting because I know that Florida is actually one of the newer hotspots, as they say. But and the reason why I say it's interesting because everything seems to be or appears to be resuming or returning to normal. And when I say return to normal, of course everything's not 100% normal, but I'm talking about as far as in business as usual. People coming and going. Like a lot. I was I'm trying to be mindful of myself, of course, but when you're out or when you have to make an errand, there's so many people out and about. So people are really doing their life, like normal, even though it's not quite normal. And that's a little concerning that's a bit concerning because it's not like everything has been regulated just yet with the pandemic. However, I do understand the challenges that we're up against when it comes down to people have to live, they have to work, they have their livelihoods and their families to take care of and things of that sort. And so, that again kind of takes me back to my foundation in faith, because I tell everybody, even though you can prepare and you can plan, you can do your best to try to be safe, and given the times that we're in. But at the end of the day, you have to be rooted, grounded in something that's going to, really, matter of fact, that it actually takes me to one of the t-shirt lines, and just a little plug there, because I have a t-shirt line that I'll be launching probably later this month. Because I think I have it set for October 31st, but it's called PPE gear. How, of course, PPE, of course, is, the protective gear that people have out in this pandemic. But the PPE gear t-shirt line that I'm launching, it stands for pray, prepare, and execute. And to me, that's going to be your additional source of protection. If you're, you stay prayed up, you stay rooted and grounded in faith, and then, like I said, prepare yourself, what I'm saying? Do whatever you can to take measures, whether it be preparing yourself in business, whether it be preparing yourself, like you mentioned briefly, in health, because, that's going to be vital, making sure that you're healthy and that because and we're all a journey in that. I'm not going to lie, health is not my strong suit. I have a personal trainer and I have different things that I'm doing right now to try to get things on track and get steady with that. However, get yourself rooted and grounded and prepare yourself in that area. And then at the end of the day, when you get your plan in place, execute, still don't be afraid, don't operate in fear, going to execute the plan. And like I said, just doing that, like I said, in this tone, there's only but so much you can do, but like I said, when you're flowing in purpose and you're doing what you were put on earth to do, and you have that resilience where you're rooted and grounded, like things like they say, you're rooted and grounded, when the storms come, you may sway, but you'll stay rooted, you
But you
know?
won't break. Yeah, exactly. You
You
stay
won't break.
rooted, you won't break. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lifelong process as well. Getting to know yourself and accepting that part as well. Becoming
Mm-hmm.
grounded. I think that's very essential to do and to strive for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I end the life mostly with asking, what would you tell your 13-year-old self with the knowledge that you have today? What
Mm-hmm.
would you tell your younger version of
Mm-hmm.
yourself?
Mm-hmm. I would, if I could have spoke to my 13-year-old self, knowing what I know now, I probably would have said, follow your own path.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that, and even though I am in that space now, but the reason why I say this, kind of like I shared earlier, I was at a space in my earlier years where I was following every path that everybody recommended me to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if I would have followed my own path, especially because I've always been a very mature person, I've always been a person that's, wise beyond my years type of a thing. And so if I would have followed my own path earlier than what I did in my life right now, I probably would have been much further along because I probably would have found my path sooner, you know. But sometimes we get caught up, like we were sharing earlier about, everybody got an opinion, everybody's trying to stir you and put the expectations on you, everybody has a suggestion, but you have to, like you said, you have to do that self-assessment no matter what age you are. I tell my nieces
No,
and nephews
no,
and people
no,
that I know, no matter what age you are, you got to look in and see what it is that you're passionate about. Look in and see
exactly,
what drives you. What fuels you.
exactly.
What your purpose to do. And that, like you said, that's a process of unveiling. But
Yes,
go pursue that process though,
true.
because
Yeah,
to me, if you follow your own path, then like I said, if you're centered at your core, that's what's going to root you and ground you when you're centered in who you are. You
yeah,
know.
no, indeed, true. Somebody's
Yeah.
saying greetings from Argentina. So yeah, thank you,
Argentina.
Sophie, for tuning in. Um,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
if we speak about that process, like finding your passion, because we say it so easily nowadays, and you hear it so often, you have to find your passion, follow your heart, do whatever stirs your soul, and all those things. We say it so easily, but what are there tips that you want to share with the viewers? Like, hey, this is very important, or this helped me. Um, in evolving, in finding your passion, because it's
Mm-hmm.
also a process in finding that passion.
Definitely.
What helped
Definitely.
you in that, on that path?
Well, I'll start by saying it's not like a one stop drop process, like you said, to be able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because there's many different angles, there's many different facets that come together in the full picture of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, one of the things that's going to be connected to the academy that I'm going to launch that's going to be launching January with business, is there's going to be an assessment. And there's a lot of ones that are out there right now, like kind of like personality assessments and things of that sort. Just it kind of reminds you know how they have that assessment out there, the love language, even though that's totally different. It teaches you how to what your love language is, but similar concepts.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a way of bringing all the pieces of the puzzle together to be able to say, okay, yeah, this is it. That's kind of how I approach it. And so
Okay.
I've had to figure out, okay, what is it that fulfills me? I'll give you an example. Like I said, the graphic design. I do graphic design, have done it for years.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's not the main vein that I flow in. So I don't promote myself as a graphic designer. You know why? Because when I do graphic design and I get loaded with graphic design projects, it doesn't fulfill me.
No.
It
Yeah.
kind of it drains me and it
Mm-hmm.
zaps me.
Yeah.
And so I know that's not the primary vein that I should flow in. It doesn't fulfill me. It doesn't bring that joy and excitement. I do love it when it's tied to what I do as a business coach,
Exactly.
And so when you find that thing that fulfills you, that brings you excitement, and it kind of it makes you live on the inside, that's a hint at knowing what you're passionate about and what your purpose to do. Like I shared earlier, your challenges in life. I honestly, vividly believe that your challenges in life will mold a portion of what it is you're called to do, because obviously your experience in the things that you've gone through, you can always empower somebody to go through those same things.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
your experiences, also, just when it comes down to your natural gifts and abilities, just looking at a variety of these
Yeah.
various different things. And like I said, that takes very, very strategic self-assessment, and looking inward,
Yeah.
and really thinking, okay, what it is
Yeah.
that I like, what is I love,
Creating awareness as well.
Yeah,
I
there you
see
go, that awareness.
I see a question coming in from Sophie, and I like it, and I think we both can reply that one. How can I become a successful person? I think we both struggled with that, and we're still sometimes discovering how to do it. What would you recommend to Sophie, like a tip, like how can I become successful?
Well, if it were somebody who was just starting off trying to find something that they can kind of get going with, I would first say, again, and this is a kind of repeat thing, but I would first say to find a mentor or a coach that you can connect to that's
Exactly.
doing what you love, or something that you're like in that vein, because sometimes it's hard to maneuver when you're just approaching that process
True.
and that journey to maneuver it alone, you know. But when
Mhm.
you have someone that's gone where you want to go, they can drop those nuggets, they can help guide that way. So I would definitely first say that first in
Yeah,
being a successful person is connect to successful people, you
exactly.
know,
So
connect,
important.
bring that community, and that environment, so that you can have, that iron sharpening iron environment.
Yeah.
And and you'll be surprised at the stuff that comes out of you when you do connect with other people that
True.
are also that are awesome and empowering. And so for sometimes things that come out of you didn't even know that you had in you.
No,
And so, yeah,
that's
I would say that first, with becoming a successful person. But secondly, and I'll just to give a couple, because there's so many different things you can name, but just to give the second thing, and like I said, I said this before also, is investing in yourself. I know sometimes in the beginning stages of a thing, we're very mindful of budget, and I deal with this all the time, because like I said, I work with people who are starting in business, and they're in their grassroots level, their startup phases. And so I know sometimes that budgeting and being mindful of it. But I tell everybody, listen, you do what you want to do.
true.
And even if you can't do it right now, if it's something that you want to do, you will find a way to do it. And to
Exactly.
me, that's kind of how I look at it when it comes down to purpose. Like whatever it is that you want to do, or that you're passionate about, that you love doing, invest in yourself. If it's something that you don't know all
No,
the route to it, learn,
learn and
connect
master
yourself into a
yourself.
class, of course,
Mhm.
find yourself in a learning environment that can help give you the ins and outs on how to do that thing.
True.
And so to me, those two things are probably the most impactful things when it comes down to being successful, is
Mhm.
connecting with other successful mentors and investing in yourself so that you can learn and,
Yeah,
and perfect your craft,
true.
you know?
Exactly. And also with a mentor, you can look at it from a different point of view. I think that's very important. The majority of the time when we are in a situation, you're too close, you won't see
Mm-hmm.
all the possibilities. And when you go with a mentor and look at those things, you will learn to see things from a different point of view. And I think that's also very inspiring and very encouraging, to look at it from a different point of view and find a different approach in how can I evolve and how can I find my passion. And I think for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's also one of the biggest lessons in that, is trusting my inner compass, trusting my gut feeling when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
finding your passion. Like you're saying with the graphic design, it drained me, but it's also a process to figure those things out. Like you're doing
Yeah.
things, you're going through life, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have to like feel in yourself, like, is this draining me or is this giving me energy? And that's
There
also
you go.
trusting you, like your inner compass, and
Mm-hmm.
daring to take steps towards that feeling as well, because you can
Yeah.
feel like this is my
Yes.
passion, this gives me energy, but then taking
Mm-hmm.
the step towards it is always a challenge as well. For me it was so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, was it for you also a challenge following that gut
Yes.
feeling?
Definitely, most certainly, because I mean, at the end of the day, there's, especially when you have like, that's why I was saying to silence the noise, because
Mhm.
when you have so many opinions coming, you have everything that the world is saying, there's so many, sometimes you even have, like, let's just say somebody that wants to be a model, for instance. You have
Exactly.
the media, you have so you have so many things that
So
are
many
trying
influence.
to throw their opinions and their thoughts, but you have
True.
to kind of be able to, like you said, the self-awareness, and
True.
to be able to self-assess yourself to know what resonates with you, you
True.
know? And it's like you said, it's definitely a process, but there's tools and there's resources out there. Like I said, even with my own academy that's forthcoming, I'm going to have assessments and planners and trackers and things of that sort, vision casting kits and stuff that will help to center you. But that's why it's that's why, because look, I got coaches in different areas. That's why I always advocate for people with coaches, because like I said, they help to give you those tools to help you get along your path.
We have I'm going to, sorry for the interruption, we have 1 minute and 5 seconds and then it's going to close. So no,
Yes,
for
yes.
Sophie as well, if you need more information, I think you can contact Jennee, you can contact me, we will gladly help you. Thank you,
Definitely.
everyone who tuned in, who was here. Thank you for the questions and being, being a viewer. Jennee, thank you very much for making time
Awesome. Well,
to
thank
be
you.
here. I truly enjoyed it. Maybe we should
Yes,
connect again. The
definitely.
last 35 seconds, I'm going to give them to you so you can end the live. So take it away.
Awesome. Well, I just want to, like I said, just give some encouragement to everybody out there again, because like I said, I know there's a lot going on in the world, and sometimes it can be uncertain knowing exactly what's going on and what steps you should make. But like I said, take the time, get in a silent place, and get centered at your core. Know what your purpose to do and thrive in that. And then chances are you'll have that foundation to keep going to what you need to do despite what's going on in the world. So
Amen to
find your
that.
core.
Another 4 seconds. Thank you, Jennee. Thank you, everyone. Good night.